Yeah, cool. So, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about where we're at and why it's so awesome?
Okay, my name is Diego Mosquera. I am the manager of Tiputini Biodiversity Station. This is a station that is located next to Yasuni National Park, which is the largest national park in the Ecuadorian mainland, and it's documented as one of the most biodiverse places in the world. More?
Um, yeah, what kind of work do you guys do here?
Well, we are a research station, so we're more interested on being like a place that facilitates research, especially considering that this is an area that is being well studied, but we still need to know a lot more about what's going on here. So we have several uh, people coming here all year long doing different kinds of research, mostly studying mammals, plants, insects, many things. And what I do here is I'm studying ground mammals and birds with camera traps. And the idea of this project is to first of all document what animals live here, and then try to establish some patterns on how they move, how many there are, how the use of the resources by them, and the idea is to gather information on this so we can have a better idea of what's going on in the forest, on how the forest works. My name is Diego Mosquera. I am the manager of the Tiputine Biodiversity Station, which is a research station that is located next to Yasuni National Park, the largest national park in Ecuador, a place that has been documented as one of the most biodiverse places in the world. What was next?
So, you're studying the
Okay.
scientists here come here for?
Um, okay, so we are a research station, which means that we have lots of researchers coming all year long to study different things, plants, animals, insects, many things. And what I do is to study ground mammals and birds with the use of camera traps, which is a really cool technology to do this. And what I'm trying to do is get as much information as I can on which animals live here, where you can find them, what sort of things they do, what resources they use. And the idea of this is to gather as much information as we can so we can understand better how the forest works. Because only knowing how the forest works, we can do something to protect it.
Cool. Um, does this sound better? And can you talk a little bit about how oil might be threatening this region? You said roads specifically.
Yes, well, unfortunately for the Amazon, there's a lot of oil underground. A lot of people want that oil, and it's especially in the last few years, it's been all the activities have been increasing for they want to extract the oil. So oil obviously it's an industry that has a lot of impacts. When we think about the Amazon, we think more about the ecological impacts that oil has. So apart from you know visual contamination, pollution, oil spills, all these things, I think the main threat that the oil companies provide to the Amazon is the construction of roads. When you have roads, you have a chance for many human activities. And when you have people in such a pristine area like this, that's when you get in trouble. When you have people, you have agriculture, you have hunting, you have deforestation, you have many things. So for me, the oil itself is not the problem; it's the secondary effects of oil, which are roads, basically.
And right now, what does it look like? The future of this forest, or
Mm, well, even though we are within a park, there's oil exploration, which is a little bit, crazy. But the problem is that oil is the main income of the country, so always oil is going to be above anything else. We are still don't understand that the real treasure here is the forest, not what's on the ground. Right now, because oil prices are really low, the government has two options. One is to like increase taxes, or the other option is to look for more oil. Um, so that's what they are doing, basically. They are looking for more oil. We still are in a good shape, let's say, but in the future, most likely we're gonna be in trouble. Um, yeah, I lost my idea.
Um, can you talk a little bit about the impacts that oil has already had, like the spills in Ecuador and um,
Well,
that
if you
situation?
look at the map of Ecuador, about half of the country is Amazon. So back in the 70s, when there was the oil boom, when Ecuador went from being an agricultural country to an oil country, a lot of exploration happened in the northern part of the Amazon. That's where you had Chevron at the time and other companies. So the effects of that, you can still see the effects of the bad things they did. So the northern part of the Amazon is pretty much destroyed because of oil operation. So there's been a lot of impacts, not only short-term impacts, but also long-term impacts, the ones that you can still see. Obviously, they build lots of roads, so there's a lot of deforestation. A lot of people move there. Most of the people that live in the Amazon now, it's people that came because of oil. So a lot of colonization, and also at that time at least, the oil industry didn't have good environmental standards, so they would just do things that these days are unimaginable.
Unimaginable,
Unimaginable.
unimaginable.
Yeah. So, like for example, when you extract oil, you not only get oil, but you also get gas and water. They would throw that water into rivers, and that water is radioactive water, which is like burning, boiling. They would just throw it in the river. So luckily, in the last 30 years, technology has evolved a lot, and it's right now, let's say, it's more friendly with the environment. Still, there are a lot of impacts. The problem here is that this is such a diverse place, and that any impact, no matter how little it is, it will cause a huge effect, because here everything is interconnected. So if you affect one certain type of organisms, in the end you're affecting the whole system. So it's probably the last place where you wanna destroy it, because it's a very complex ecosystem. But like I said before, the bad thing for us is that there's a lot of oil under us. Um, but like I said also before, the oil is the main income of the country, so they are gonna take it. Uh, if it's not in the next 5 years, it's gonna be some point. If it's not Korea, it's gonna be the next guy. They're gonna take it, so we need to be prepared for that. And one of the things we do here with the research is try to see how the forest is doing now, so we can document what's going to happen in the future when all these changes come. And only knowing how the forest works now, maybe we can do something to not to stop the impact, but at least to make them less strong.
Yeah. I'm gonna just move this a tiny bit.
The gold's strong.
Awesome.
yeah.
Um, what kind of effects specifically do you think you would see here with oil exploration?
Well, it depends on which phase of the oil we're talking about. The first phase usually is just to look for the oil. But then once you find it, then in our case, for example, we're going to have lots of helicopters flying around us. Then if they decide to build roads, then most likely we're going to have people, eventually more traffic along the river, noise. We're not that far from oil operations, but we can still hear them, even though it's quite a big distance. Um, and then if you don't do a proper operation, there's always a risk that something's going to happen, like a big oil spill, for example. So unfortunately, the Ecuadorian company has not a good history on that. I think a few years ago they had the world record on oil spills, like 450 oil spills a year. That's more than one oil spill a day. So, apart from the direct impact from oil operation, what worries me the most is the fact that they're probably going to build roads. And when you build a road, like I said, not only you have people, but first of all, you are dividing the habitat for many species, and then you're giving people access to and touch forest. And when you have people, even if they are indigenous, and supposedly they live in harmony with nature, we haven't seen that. So we need to be prepared for that.
Can you talk a little bit about the indigenous impacts? How?
Well, yeah. So most of the people that you see along this road, for example, they didn't live here before. They came with the builder road. So they had a traditional way of living long time ago before they were contacted by Western civilization. And let's say that at some level they did live in harmony with nature. But everything changed in the last, 60 years. Before they used to, go to the forest and maybe kill a couple animals to eat. But now they not only kill animals to eat, but to sell. Let's say that the appearance of a cash market changed everything. So now they have other needs. They have money. They need money for other things that they didn't have before. So that puts a lot of pressure on the resources. They go to the forest and they shoot many animals. The traditional ways of hunting have changed too. So now they don't go to the forest with spears or blowguns. They go with rifles. Gives them a higher chance of killing more animals. And the way they see the forest is that everything is unlimited. They don't understand the concept of that something you're going to run out of something. So they just keep killing animals, as many as they can, because they know that the more animals they kill, the more money they're going to get. So it's important to work on that, because animals are not infinite.
That cloud just made everything a lot darker. So can you talk a little bit about the importance of conservation work?
Yeah. Well, I think the first step to do conservation is to know what you have. If you don't know how things work, there's really not much you can do. You need to base your decisions on science. Having science information is the most important thing to do conservation, and it's obviously very important to preserve areas, especially in a country like Ecuador that has lost most of their natural resources, like most of the forest. We still have a pretty good chunk of forest in the Amazon, and that's pretty much what's left. So it's very important that we protect that, because if we don't protect that, it's not about protecting animals, it's about protecting a whole series of services that the forest provides us. Only by protecting big pieces of forest, we can guarantee all the ecological processes that we use, from the forest. So it's extremely important not only to do conservation, but also to encourage people to understand why we preserve these areas. It's important that people understand the need to conserve areas. And the more people aware of this, the better results we'll have.
Is it raining?
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh, it came on. Sun and rain.
Well, I guess that's enough. Do you want to talk about anything else?
No. Maybe you'll see my talk tonight, and then we can do it
Have
again
more
tomorrow.
questions?
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks, Diego.
Yeah, thanks.
My pleasure. I'm gonna take this.